Boss Rush is actually real? Now make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more on us. Got a couple of weird tech choices came up in the OCG. And one of them was actually a Boss Rush deck that was playing to go second. And honestly, I had to take a step back from this because I found that this was an incredibly cool concept because like Tenpai, whose job was to be able to, go second, play through these fields and try to OTK your opponent, Boss Rush has a little bit more uniqueness and flavor of the things that it could do. First of all, you have one that just dumps 5 boss units from your deck, which is incredibly ignorant, but it is a huge attacker. And looking at that, that's kind of cool. But also, you have access to Raigekis, limiter removals. I've seen access to exceed monsters in the extra deck. Enter Blafnir, rank 5, 6s, these sorts of toolbox cards to help you out. But honestly, just slamming down a Raigeki to clear your opponent's field, deploying enough boss units to clear the game. Like, well, what's your opponent going to do? It's Tenpai at home at this point in time with some extra steps to help you clear out the game. And I think that's really freaking cool, man. I was surprised to see not one but 2 Boss Rush decks actually showing up. It was just such an interesting concept that you're just like, we actually can see why this deck can consistently do its thing. Now, I mean, you're not going to see this deck winning tournaments left and right, but it's enough that when we do get the Boss Rush stuff here in the TCG, if you're looking to go to a casual local or something, yeah, pick this up, man. Go have some fun. Go mill down 5 of your boss units and just start attacking for game. That's the kind of love that I love to see in this game. It's that creativity that I think is very, very, very unique. Let's talk about Cipher and Etranger. Now, there was a very, very weird list that popped up recently with some it was Synchro good stuff, but it was using Cipher and Etranger with the Neo Galaxy Ice Dragon stuff to be able to, I guess, set up. Now, Cipher and Etranger says, if this card is in the hand grave, target a Cipher exceed monster control and attach this card to it. But if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Cipher spell or trap card from your deck to your hand, which the one you're going to be searching for is the rank up Cipher Ascension, which you would use to try to make the Galaxy or the Neo Galaxy Eyes to turn something that your opponent has into a Cipher Dragon and basically try to take control of it. Which, on paper, does not seem like a terrible concept. It's just, one, how consistent am I going to be able to see Cipher and Etranger? How often am I going to be able to get it sent to the graveyard to get the good value off of this card? And how consistently am I going to be getting the tools to get the Cipher Dragon set up? Which is going to be level 8. Now, if I'm playing this in a Synchro deck and, I don't hit Junk Speeder, for example, and I don't get locked, then yeah, I could see a world where you're just going up and down the Synchro ladder, making this board to get into the end board of that big dragon to take control of an opponent's field. But this also is going to involve me going second with this concept. And it might feel a little bit win more, but it was a cool idea on paper, and I got to give them credit. I liked the idea. It definitely seemed really, really fun for the idea. Let's talk about Archfiends and Regenesis. So, the burst protocol stuff that we get for this deck is the little pendulum side of things, but also you got to be very careful with this pile. But more and more people have been exploring this concept of what if we're just, what if we're building an Archfiend toolbox style deck? What's the payoff for involving all of these different combo lines within the deck? And that kind of got me thinking for a second, honestly. Is it a good idea to build the Burst Protocol Archfiend stuff with the regenesis? Is there a payoff to this? Well, this is kind of where we get into the Doom Dog, who is the searcher for the level 8 that are just generically going to work out. We all know that Archfiend regenesis is searchable via the Doom Dog, but at that point in time, so we're just building regenesis with extra steps for a larger end board. That's effectively what it ends up being at this point. Now, is that a bad idea? No. I have seen over the last couple of days more random Archfiend deck list than I thought I would see in months. People are really looking to like these different little tools and options, and they're really trying to figure out what is going to be the best playable place to make the Archfiend stuff kind of stick around. And honestly, exploring this and actually considering the options that you've got, I think it works out really, really awesomely. So this is me going, I approve. I like seeing the new Archfiend Pendulum stuff be workable. I'm happy to see that regenesis is also giving the deck some forms of interruption, but I'm also happy to see that players are exploring these off of the wall concepts and they're actually working out for them. Like that's really cool. Punk with Stardust Assault mode. So, not only have I seen a crap ton of Stardust Assault mode list coming together, I have seen players exploring the Punk package within this. But let's call it what it is at this point. Punk is going to be a lot of decent consistency for this deck. Because the thing I've ran into is, you know, when your little Psychic level 1 guy gets ashed, you just want to pick your deck up and throw it at the wall and shit and cry about it because it feels fucking awful. That's the problem that I personally have with playing the deck. It's just certain bells and whistles feel way worse than others. Honestly, it can be a little bit problematic and frustrating to deal with. But I do think, however, that the Punk stuff does up the consistency, and you don't have to go too crazy with the Punk package. I mean, thinking about it logically with the tools to build into the Punk deck, you build in a couple of extra little pieces, you up the deck's consistency a lot. Also, the extra deck for anything assault mode is not exactly tiny. You play one of the level 8 synchro that searches. You play a couple, like a Stardust, you know, maybe a Crimson Blader, depending on, you know, the extra little pieces that you want for the consistency. But it just comes down to, hey, you know, how much consistency do I want to build into this? And do I want to go pick up some Punk cards, I guess, is what it comes down to. And if your argument is, well, I've already got all the old stuff, I don't want to pick up Punk, then you can still play the old pure build. But having that upgrade and that consistency push, I think makes this deck feel a whole lot better. It's like a whole new deck. And then I got to talk about the terror that Fusion deployment is causing right now. Fusion deployment has been seeing a crap ton of play in Shadoll. Like, I am actually surprised that so many duelists out here are just exploring this in Shadoll. Now, you're probably like, well, Robbie, it has to specifically pick out a monster whose name is listed on Fusion Deployment. You know, all the Shadoll cards are basically just named Shadoll monsters. You can't actually use Fusion Deployment. Wrong. Enter Blazing Cartesia. So Blazing Cartesia fixes one of the most hilarious problems that we've had with Shadoll. It's a specific named monster that allows us to consistently make other little bits and pieces within the extra deck so that we can actually up the consistency on our pile of terrible things. Now, you're probably like, oh, okay, is that it? Yes, it's just you have to specifically make a level 8 or higher fusion monster using monsters that you control, which she is a light spellcaster, everybody. Sail on, Construct, because you've got a Cartesia plus a Shadoll monster. Dun 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 dun! You get access to Construct. It's pretty cool, honestly. I do appreciate what this little package is doing for consistencies for the deck. But please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.